Hello, Game Studies. For my game journal video essay, I wanted to do Planet Coaster 2, which is a sequel to Planet Coaster 1. And basically, it's mostly oriented for its sandbox mode, which is the mode I prefer to play just because I get a lot more creative freedom out of this than, saying like playing the career mode, which the career mode actually does follow the magic circle. Like, you're accepting the rules of the game because you basically have to like you're given a pre-built park and you have to follow certain constraints, certain zoning, certain building laws. Like you're given also like objectives like, oh, you build this type of roller coaster with a certain amount of footage or meterage, which that's another thing you can choose the measurement system. I do, the American system because it's what I grew up on. But anyways, one particular thing it does well is its sandbox mode, and why I think that it does so. Why the developers do like why it works so well is because it gives people the access to express their creative freedom, especially with roller coasters. Roller coasters have been something that I've been interested for basically my entire life. I have loved anything to do with them. I actually used to consider like potentially doing and building and working in an engineering degree to make these, but I was like, that's not the career I want for me. So I decided on something different. But it works so well because it gives access to people who are not able to ride roller coasters or don't have the financial means to go out and go to those places because it's also a simulation game. Like over here, I can give an example. Like this ride right here, I built it myself. I like to go for more realism, which seen some people who go for outrageous creative freedom, like they basically make death machines if they were real. Yeah, I made this myself. But another particular aspect I think that it does well to its predecessor, Planet Coaster 1, the building aspect of it. Because with Planet Coaster 1, they introduced track smoothing, which Planet Coaster's predecessors are the Roller Coaster Tycoon games. You didn't have that option. They were basically clunky turns, transitions, and inversions. But with Planet Coaster, you had a little more with it. But they optimized it in Planet Coaster 2 because with Planet Coaster 1, you'd basically have to spend hours at a time trying to smooth out a track. And whenever they were planning on releasing Planet Coaster 2, they listened to the community about it and be like, oh, let's actually make this a lot better. And they did, because now it's a lot better. Like, you get a lot more smoothness. But with Planet Coaster 1, as if you did like track view with like your roller coasters, it'd be a lot more jittery and clunky. But whenever I play this game, I feel very relaxed because it's a very time consuming game, so I know I don't have to like get anything done like immediately. I'm like not having to set deadlines for myself. I'm not having to like play a battle pass for anything. I can take as much time as I want, which one of the things that I've taken the most time on is this park entrance and kind of this corridor area, or like sorry, not courtyard area, which I need to work on it more. I haven't played this game in a while just because I've been playing other games, as one does. But why I choose to honestly, I prefer more high fantasy themes, so that's why I kind of chose like a little like Nordic mythology theme for this. Like I honestly can't remember why I named it this. I think it's based, but anyways, I have the park separated in sections like Midgard, Asgard, and this is supposed to be Jotunheim. And then this is like a imaginary thing I made. Like that's supposed to be like warrior or Viking. This is supposed to be like a water park area I'm planning on making. And then over here is Vanaheim. And then this is like the underworld, Niflheim. But one thing they actually did really well with this game, like in the first game, Planet Coaster game, you couldn't build flumes. Couldn't. And then they're like, oh, yeah, this time you're actually going to be able to build flumes. And people are like, great. And then people notice like something immediately on release by why why does it low key suck? Why do the physics of the flumes suck? Which I'll showcase how they look now because they actually did change it to be a lot more realistic. Like with the flumes back then, or before they did like their first major update, they were very static and like all the people would be sitting level with each other. Which if you've ever been to a water park, that's not realistic at all. So what they did, they listened to the community about it and like, hey, we're actually gonna update this for y'all now. And now, whenever it hits like a bend or something like that, I'll show you. Just a sec. Let me just finish this real quick. Alright, I'm not gonna finish the whole thing, but I just want to show. This is just for show. Like, look at that. The raft basically bends to the flume, and then whenever it's hitting a turn, I'll show you as well. It basically it sways along the flume. Like, it uses like actual physics. It goes like my cursor, like if you watch it, it'll like hit up against the wall and then go around it a little bit like that. Which is great. I'm glad they did that because that makes it seem much more realistic. As realistic you can get with this game, honestly. Which is great. I really appreciated that from them. But back to the Magic Circle. With career mode, it's not my favorite, so that's why I prefer to do the sandbox mode because there really is no rules in this. I can do whatever I want other than, you know, building up too high or like there's borders in this game like to how far you can build, like right here, these dotted lines. This is basically where I have like as much room to do what I want. Which they also have borders around the front area as well over here. I actually, oh, it ends right there in that little corner. Which some people would probably build all the way up there, like, you know, fill their park to the brim with rides, but I want to like try to create it more realistic. Like, what if there was like a Nordic theme park, hence the entrance, like, you know. Can you walk through it real quick? I swear it used to play. I had speakers in here that you can like use. Oh yeah, this plays like rain, which is really cool. But I think that pretty much rounds out like how I feel about this game. I think I think if you're interested in like roller coasters or parks like that, you should definitely give it a try. One other aspect I really like, sure, I did some microtransaction and not microtransactions are not fun, but they add a lot of things to the game, like a lot of like sceneries and stuff. Which there's one really like high fantasy one that I really want to get. I just don't have the money for it right now. So, ooh, another thing they also added from the first game, they added like where you can make restaurants. Like, you used to have to do something like this, a seating area, but then they like added like actual like places where you can assign like, oh, this works for a certain restaurant. And they also like added arcades, which is also pretty cool. Which I think that's an entertainment. Yeah. This is just a blueprint. It basically gives you like all the electrical stuff. I think you just kind of click and drag it. We're gonna place that there for right now, but it basically like assigns pathways for guests to go in, and it looks like an actual arcade, which is really cool. And you assign workers to these. It has a lot to do. Like, you have to like assign power strips to these. That's a major difference from the first game. Like, sure, with the first Planet Coaster, you could like assign workers. That's all you had to do. You'd like give them a little break space, and that's it. But now you actually have to like worry about like connecting to power and everything like that, like this. Which is another aspect I really like, how they like try to make it like as realistic as possible. This, I'm going to undo that because that isn't I'm going to make an arcade, it's gonna be in a Viking style. I'm not having it like modernized and like plasticky. But yeah, pretty much that's pretty much how this game, like, I wanted to play this because, like, it's something that has interested me for a while, and then showcase that interest with everyone in this class. But yeah, I appreciate you tuning in for me.